let me just get us loaded up on here so I can see who's joining me today. So, it's curry week! We all love a curry, don't we? Because there is a curry for everyone. So, let me just get this video open and I can see all you lovely people joining me. Da-da-da. Yay, we're working. I'm the right way round. You can see our ingredient list today. So I've already shared the ingredient list and the equipment list onto our community group. So if you're not a member of the community group, make sure you join us. So we've got my mummy and my sister. Hi guys. I've got Dave. Hi Dave. Dave's going to be doing admin for us, so she'll pin any questions that I miss or she'll help me answer some if I'm not sure of the answers. And we've got Jenny with us today. Good morning or hello everyone. I don't know where it is, where you are. Good morning Lisa. Oh, we're in New Jersey. So Lisa, not sure if you're going to have curry for your breakfast today, but if we're in Thailand sometimes we might be doing that. So today I'm doing a Thai inspired curry. So like Dave said yesterday, none of our curries are authentic. They're inspired by our favourite flavours, where we've travelled, family, friends. So I actually was lucky enough to travel Thailand a couple of years ago and did a few cooking classes and absolutely love Thai food. So this isn't an authentic recipe. I've taken my favourite flavours from Thai cooking and adapted it to ingredients that I've got or that I can access right now. So let's just double check who we've got. We have got Sue. Hello Sue. Hello Colleen. Colleen, you've got it straight away. So yeah, you've got to check what's under the rainbow. I always forget to show you. I'm so bad at showing you what I've drawn under the rainbow. I'm hoping you can see it today. I've done it quite big. We have got Mandy, we've got Anne, we've got Khan. Hi Khan. Oh, and Dave shared the link for our community group. So I'll remind you again at the end. So anybody that's new today, anybody that's not part of the community group, it's just like an extension of what we do here. So you will get access to all of the recipes, but we've just got such a good community building on there. All of you guys are sharing your recipes. Some of you have signed up to Dave's the Vegan Chef School courses, so you're sharing your amazing bakes and cooking that you've all done through your courses, and it's so good to be a part of, and I'm absolutely loving seeing what you all get up to. And you also inspire us to make dishes and think outside the box, or whatever it might be. You guys are helping us too, and I hope that we're helping you. So let's get into today. So I did set this up so we could do a cook along. So if you are cooking along today, that's great. Hi Mick, thank you for joining us today. So if you are cooking along, give me a shout out just so I'm aware if anybody is. Sorry that the post went up a bit late last night. And obviously some of you guys are from all over the world. It might not be the right time to start cooking a curry. So you can always access this video. It'll stay on the Facebook page, and then eventually the recipe will be on the website. And like I said, I've shared the recipe on the community group anyway. So let's get started. If you are cooking along, I am not making rice because I'm not going to eat this curry for my lunch. I'm going to save it for tea. So if you want to get your rice on, follow your instructions, however you're doing it, pop it in the pan, pop it in a rice cooker, whatever you've got. On this curry is also perfect just to have by itself. I've packed a couple of veggies in just to make it a bit of a fuller meal if you choose not to have the rice. So, a bit similar to what Dave did yesterday, I'm going to make a curry paste and then I'm going to add it to make the curry sauce. So let me show you before we get started. This is just an extra that I've decided to add, and I hope you can see this, but I have sprouted some beans. And if I'm honest with you, I've let these beans go a little bit longer than I normally would because I wanted to save some for the recipe. I didn't do enough. You know, I'm always doing something not right. So some of these have gone a little bit too far like this. And if you notice it, chuck it away. So just to have, oops, sorry, I just dropped one. A bit of a talk about sprouting. I am by no means an expert in this, and I've only done it a few times. So I've done a little bit of reading. Do your own research. You might already sprout your own beans and seeds. And if you do, fantastic. So what we kind of used them, but we were buying them and they're so expensive to buy. And just to top them on, you know, I'll use them as a garnish, I'll pop them onto salads, I'll pop them in anything because it's just that extra bit of nutrition. When you sprout them, their nutritional value increases and they're easier to digest. So once you've sprouted them, you can eat them raw, but you can also chuck them in and cook them too. So from what I've been reading, I have got an actual sprouting mix. And in this, it's got chickpeas, brown lentils, green lentils, and sunflower seeds. So in theory, you could buy a packet of dried lentils and sprout them. However, I have to tell you kind of what I've read up, as in there is a risk of the beans or seeds, no, not seeds because seeds are there for us to eat, but the beans and legumes that are not marketed for sprouting potentially can carry certain things like E. coli and salmonella. So when you're buying a sprouting mix, they know that these are for sprouting, so people may eat them raw. When you buy some dried lentils that are for cooking, they are packaged for cooking, so I don't know if they are processed the same or if it's as safe. And I'm just sharing what I've read. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this, so I would advise, just for safety reasons, to buy sprouting mixes. But you might know more about it than me. So yeah, that's kind of my knowledge on it. But just because they were so expensive in the shop, I wanted to make my own. So that's exactly what I've done. So I don't have any fancy equipment. I popped them in a little, it wasn't in this, it was just a little dish. Soak them overnight, drain the water, wash them, and then you keep them damp. You can put a bit of cheesecloth over the top, so nothing's getting to them, and you wash them at least once a day, and they sprout within 3 to 4 days. And they're super tasty. Each bean and seed and legume's got its own taste. So if this is something you're interested in and you try it out, just let us know in the community group how it goes. If you're not adding sprouted beans to this mix, it's totally fine. It's perfect. Actually, when I have this curry, I just use tofu. I'm just adding this for a bit of extra nutrition and some garnish. So yeah, that's the sprouted mix. I'm just going to pop it to one side because we don't need it till later. So let's just double check. Right guys, so let's get started with, I'm going to do the tofu first. We'll prep the tofu. So all I've done is poured the liquid out of this. So this is our firm tofu. It's a 280 gram packet. The drain weighs roughly about 200, so I put 200 grams of firm tofu. This curry makes 2 large portions, so I made this curry to have without rice. So it's a large portion, so if you're going to have this with rice, you might get up to 4 portions out of this with some rice. So all I'm going to do, just while I make the curry paste, I'm going to pop this inside a tea towel. We're going to squeeze the extra moisture out, so you're going to be quite firm, but you don't want to break it up. I mean, if you do, it's not the end of the world. But we want to get as much moisture out as we can. If you've got a tofu press, use it. I'm just trying to use not as much equipment, just so I can cover what everyone's got. When you're making your paste, if you don't have a blender, food processor, use pestle and mortar. It's obviously going to take you longer, but if you're being authentic and you're on the streets of Thailand, that's how they're going to be making their curries non-stop for that fantastic street food that you can access there. So with Thai flavours, it's kind of a balance between the heat from the spice, and then we're going to have sweet and sour, and we're going to have salt. So we're going to balance those flavours, and depending on your palate, you might want to kind of play around with some of the profiles. So for me, I absolutely love spice. I can totally handle spice, and sometimes, especially if I'm cooking for other people, I might not be able, something that's not spicy to me could be spicy to someone else. So I'm really cautious about the spice level when I'm cooking. So I actually don't know what chilies they are, it just said chilies on the packet, but it says they're hot chilies. So I've put 3 to 5 green chilies. Depending on the chilies, green chilies aren't as hot as red ones. So in some recipes, like if you're making a red Thai curry paste or a green Thai curry paste, you'll probably use more green chilies than you would red chilies. But what I would advise, if you're not sure, start with 1 or 2, blend it up, you can taste it. We've got nothing in here that we can't eat raw, so you can taste it. If that spice is not enough, then we're going to add some more. So I'm going to add, I'll probably add 4 chilies today, and I'm going to save 1 for a garnish at the end just because I like to make it look pretty. So I'm going to just quickly go through this. So we've got our chilies, we're going to do garlic, I've got fresh ginger, so with lemongrass. I haven't got any fresh lemongrass, so I'm going to use powdered lemongrass. So if you've got fresh, fantastic. Probably use maybe like 1 to 2 centimetre stick. If you call it a stick, I'm not sure what you call it. And just chop that up before we blend it, because that's really fibrous, just to make the blend really quick. I'm just checking. So fresh coriander, so you have to do basic coriander, fresh turmeric. If you've not got fresh turmeric powder, you're going to use like a teaspoon of turmeric powder. Salt, so we're going to mix the salt in, or we're going to add the salt in to be a replacement for, they'll use like fish sauce or dried shrimp, and that fishy element that adds their saltiness to their traditional dishes. We're just going to use salt. You can use soy sauce, but I'm just going to keep it simple and use salt. And then I'm going to use spring onions or scallions, just to keep that green theme going. If you've got shallots or red onions, whatever you want, the onions can get blended in too. But I'm just going to keep it green today. So I'm just wrap that up, and we will leave it to one side. I'm hoping I'm going to do my chopping here, and I'm going to do the blending here. Then once we don't need this space and we're on the hob, I'll double check the view, and if I need to bring you closer, I will. Is that okay, guys? Yes, Colleen, coriander is cilantro. So I'm just going to pop that out of the way, and let's get started. So I'm just going to use my little small food processor. You can also use a hand blender, or like I said, pestle and mortar, or a blender, whatever you've got. But just because it's not a huge amount, you don't want anything big. So let's get going. So you're going to need a zester, because we're going to put some lime zest in. Another quick point to make, if you can access kaffir limes, and is there anything else, you can get Thai ginger, obviously lemon, fresh lemongrass. You're just going to get a bit closer to those Thai flavours. Again, here when we add the basil, I have got some Thai basil, I'm going to explain that in a minute. Thai basil tastes different than our regular Italian style basil. It's got a bit more of an aniseedy flavour. But we're just going to play around, and we'll add in what we've got. I don't want you going buying all this extra stuff if we don't need it. So, garlic, let's go. Garlic, we want chilies, let's see what I've pulled out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to save that big one for a garnish. So for your garlic, you can just crush it to get the peels off. That one's already empty. And we're just going to chop it into small chunks just to help the food processor. And blitz it up as fast as we can. So we've got our garlic. So you're just going to chop. Don't laugh at my big knife. I need to get some proper knives. I have not got very good knives in this house. I will invest in some chef knives. After the lockdown, I want to go and try some before I buy. So all I'm going to do, again with the chilies, chop the stalk off. Pop the rubbish in there actually. Chop the stalk off. And we're going to just pop them in chunks. Always be careful when you are using chilies. Do not touch your eyes or face. And I'm saying that to you now, and I'll probably do it on this video because I am that person that does it every time. You need to be careful when you're using spicy foods. If you are really sensitive, you can use some gloves to help keep the spice off your skin. So we've got our chilies, ginger and turmeric. So sometimes when I am cooking with ginger and turmeric, I always buy organic. So sometimes I don't peel it. I'm going to peel it in this instance, just because I don't want any extra fibres coming through, and I want the paste to be as paste-like as I can without these extra fibres. So I find just scraping the ginger with a teaspoon, super quick, and you don't lose any of your ginger. Because this ginger is a really big piece, I've chopped it off. The ends are a little bit, this end's a little bit dry, so I might just chop the end off just to get rid of that thick, fibrous, dry patch that appears on ginger. Also, when you peel it, sometimes you'll realise inside it's actually maybe like a dry section of it, so you can actually see the quality of what you're working with. So I'm just going to chop this in half and then into big chunks. Oh, I didn't chop the end off, did I? That can go in. And then I'm going to use just a little knife to just peel my turmeric, and you will get yellow fingers. So like I said, if you don't have fresh turmeric, just turmeric powder will do fine. Someone said yesterday to add your turmeric at the end. So because I'm using fresh turmeric and I need it blending, I'm going to add it at the start. But if you're going to use powdered, throw it in at the end rather than through your paste. Because that's something, if we can get the most nutrition out of our food, that's what we're going to do. I just want to blend this up, like I said, just because it's fresh. I want it part of the paste, and I don't want chunks of turmeric in there, because obviously it's a super strong taste. Sorry, I'm just getting around that little nubbin. It's a super strong taste, so if you were just getting little chunks of turmeric, I personally wouldn't like that. And so I've put rough weights for like the ginger and the turmeric. Let's see what we've got with this little nubbin. So that's 4 grams. Probably like 2.5, 3 centimetres long. But it's quite a chunky one. So these are just for you to play around with. If you want more ginger, add more ginger. I'm just going to pull my chilli out and pop it in there. And I'll show you my sad basil leaves later, because this is just what I've woken up to with my nice basil leaf being a little sad and depressed. So we've got our chilli, garlic, ginger and turmeric, and then I didn't put any water on that. I might add some water to this. Then we're going to add our coriander or cilantro. So you're just going to roughly chop it, just especially if we've got the stalks, and chuck that in. So roughly a teaspoon of that. I love herby flavours, so I'm a bit naughty when I say a teaspoon. I don't always measure it. Lemongrass. So we're going to do a teaspoon of lemongrass. Like I said, you're going to do about a 2 centimetre stick. Let's double check. Oh, we're talking about growing garlic. Oh, that's interesting that you grew your own cologne and it tasted better. I find that with organic produce as well. We really do try to shop organic. Obviously, if we can't, there are certain things that I wouldn't eat. So if you've heard of the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, we'll refer to them to make sure we're kind of having the best if we can't access certain ingredients. So if you are not sure what they are, just Google them, and the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 will tell you certain foods that are okay to eat if they're not organic and that you should avoid, really. If that's something that's important to you, it doesn't matter. But for me personally, I just try to eat organic as much as I can. So we've done lemongrass, we've got coriander. I'm going to do zest of half my lime. Brand new this, so it's a bit too sharp for me. So the lime's going to bring some of our sour bitter flavour in with some zest. At the end, I've not put it on, but at the end I'll use half the lime and just squeeze it over the top of the curry as well, because that fresh zesty taste of a lime or a lemon. If you haven't got lime, use lemon. That fresh little zesty taste on the top can just bring some flavours to life, especially if we're going to use something like a coconut milk and a bit of a fatty taste. That freshness just helps. Helps cut through the fat. Sorry, I just stopped talking then. Right, we've got our zest, we've done our turmeric, we're going to go with salt. I'll blitz it with the onions, because actually I'm gonna tell you why I just thought about adding liquid. When I made this, I actually used half a red onion, and the red onions at the minute, you'll probably see when I cut it, they're really moist at the minute, so it's kind of, that would have added the moisture very with the spring onions. I'm not going to get that, so I might add a little bit of liquid, we'll see. So we're going to go salt. I'm going to do a teaspoon. So I don't normally put a lot of salt in my food, but because this is a Thai curry and we're going to try to use the inspiration from Thai cooking, that salt's going to disperse through the dish anyway. I'm not going to add any extra after this, but also the liquid's going to dilute it down. So we're going to go for a teaspoon. Like I said, you can use soy sauce if you want. Just do shy of a teaspoon. If you're not too sure about salt and you're not sure how salty you want it to be, half a teaspoon and then add any extra in at the end. So you can always season afterwards. I'm going to move that because I don't need it again. And then our spring onions or scallions, I'm just going to take off this top layer. And again, I'm just going to chop this up and we will blend it, see what texture we get, and I might add a little bit of water. So when I cut my onion for the curry, I might cry today because they're so strong at the minute. So I'm just going to roughly chop these up and pop them in. So remember, this is going to turn into a paste. So it's going to be quite thick. but we're going to add liquid to the curry, and we're going to cook this paste off before we do them. So that's our final ingredient for our paste. With a curry paste as well, you can make a bigger batch and you can keep it in the fridge the next time you want to curry, but this is just going to be used for now. Right, I don't need the lemongrass again. Pop that to one side, keep that out of the way, and let's blitz this up and see what we've got. Right, let's make sure, get this in. Right guys, I'm just going to blitz it. I try not to cry cooking because it's going to be quite embarrassing. These these onions keep getting me. Right, so I am going to rub some liquid from my curry water. I'm just going to add a tablespoon of water in. And let's just scrape that side down. Oh, I need to put the lid on first, don't I? Deborah, yeah, I reckon you could use seaweed instead of salt. That's a really great idea. So, I guess if you've got the flakes, seaweed flakes, they could just get blitzed into your paste, or you could mix it into your curry. Good idea, that. I've got the little hand blender that doesn't lock on, so I'm the person that will probably shake it and the lid will come off. I'm just going to do one more blitz. I might add another half a tablespoon of water. Scrape the side down. And I reckon we're there. Right guys, so you can see, as much as it still looks a bit bitter, it does come together as a little bit of a paste. Probably could go a bit finer, but I'm going to cook with that. I'm happy with that. I think that this quantity, even though this is small, this quantity is quite small for this. And that's probably because I've switched it out for spring onions, and when I used the onion it would have had more volume. So maybe with this I would blitz in here, and then I might put in the pestle and mortar and just mash that up a little bit further. If you wanted to take it, but I think that that's going to be okay. So let me move this because I don't need that again. We're going to keep that. I'm going to move that, and we're going to bring in our pan and move this. And I'll double check. Let's just see what comments we've got. Oh, we're talking about growing garlic still. I'm inspired by all your growing. It's definitely something that I want to do more of, and I think through this time we've all been inspired to do this. I'm just going to grab some sweet corn and let's get an onion. Right, so like Dave mentioned yesterday, when you're cooking any kind of sauce or curry, if you can get a pan with a wide bottom, it's going to disperse the heat as evenly as you can, so it's going to cook. quicker. So with this, what I'm going to do, just because I'm going to chop and talk to you. I'm going to have to keep it on because I don't want to burn the board. I'm just going to cook it on a low heat until we've got everything added in. Then we'll cook everything off, and then once the liquid's in, I'm going to turn the heat up just to reduce it down a little bit. So let's add a teaspoon of oil. I like to go, or if you're using non-stick, you don't need to use oil. This is just a regular wok. It's just off Amazon, it was just a cheap wok. So I'm going to add oil to this, otherwise it's going to stick. So when you're cooking, you're going to want something to be able to scrape along the bottom. If anything catches, we're going to scrape it because you're going to get some caramelization from that as well. So that's going to add some extra flavour. Any neutral oil, coconut oil is fantastic with this. I haven't got any, I've only got olive oil, so that's what I'm going to use. Because we've got such strong flavours, it's okay, we're going to lose that olive oil taste. It's just a kind of a waste to use olive oil in something like this, but like I said, it's all I've got. So we've got a teaspoon of oil. Let's get the heat going. I'll keep the handle out of the way for now. But I'm a lefty, so I might need to just move it around whilst I'm using it. I also need to be careful. I don't know if you're like this, but with the wok, it kind of gets a bit distorted, so I don't want to, obviously, for it to lose balance. So I'm just going to pull this board to one side. I'm just going to double check. Oh, Paul, so seaweed is used a lot in Galway on the west coast of Ireland. Fantastic. David, what do you think it is at the end of the rainbow? What could it be? What could this be? Colleen did spot it straight away. I might set the smoke alarm off as well. I can't open the windows or the doors because my neighbours have got some music on and doing some gardening, so I don't want you to hear all that. So let's get going. So to start this, we're going to heat our oil up. Obviously it's starting to smoke, which we don't really want it to do. So that's just because I said I'm going to put it on a low heat, and I didn't. I put it straight on a high heat. You know, that's what I do, don't I? And I'm going to add all of this, and we're going to cook our paste off. Make sure if whatever you're using to make your curry paste, you wash it well. We've used some really strong flavoured ingredients in here. Let's make sure we get it all out. So we don't want to waste any, so let's cook. I'm just double checking. I'm just going to bring you, should I bring you a bit closer? I'm just going to pop around the back of the camera, guys, just while they're seeing. I'll bring you a bit closer for some cooking. Let's see if that works. We'll see. If I need to move you back, I will move you back. But I reckon that we will work with that for now. So I'm just going to cook off the paste. I'm going to make sure it's not sticking. I'm going to keep it on a low heat. I'm just going to push it to the sides. Just remember that heat's going to sit in the middle more. And I'm just going to chop this up, and I am sorry if I cry. I'm going to try not to. Let's move that out the way. So use any onion you've got. I just like to put onion as a base for lots of my dishes. Let me just pop that in there instead of over there. So I'm just going to chop this red onion in half. Pop pop this over here so it can't make me cry. I'm just going to take the top off, but I'm going to keep the root so it stays together. We're going to pull that outer skin off. Oh, thanks, Paul. Can I say, Paul, as well, I notice how much you share these videos and we really, really appreciate it. We appreciate all of you guys for watching and joining and commenting and everything that you do. But, you know, this wouldn't be what it is without you. We'd just be cooking for nobody, so we really appreciate it. So I just cut down the middle. I'm going to just slice and I'm going to dice this. And then we're going to chop it. And then I just chop around the top, so we just throw the root away. And whack it in before I cry. You can still get me. Okay, so let's get stirring. Keep coming. I'm the same, Colleen. I do put onions in probably, yeah, almost everything. I think as well with something like this, for me, when you're talking about the elements of trying to balance different flavour profiles, how you cook your vegetables could be your element of sweetness. So if you cook your onions low and slow before you add everything else, you're going to caramelise them, and that can be an extra level of sweetness. So it's like an undertone of sweetness, but we're going to add a little bit of maple in just to get that sweetness carried all the way through, because if it's through the onion, you're not going to taste the sweetness unless you eat some onion. So I've just realised as well that I've not got my maple out, so I'm just going to grab that out of the fridge and I'm just going to leave that stew for 1 second. I won't be 1 second. Get our maple for later. So we've got our curry paste cooking off. We've got our onions cooking. So whilst those onions are cooking, I'm just going to take those off there. I'm going to chop my tofu into little cubes. I'm sorry, that spice is getting my throat. So we've drained the tofu out as much as we can, and we've done that really because if that liquid's in there, then it's not going to soak up any of those curry flavours. So let's chop them into 3 pieces, turn it this way. So you want roughly like 1 to 2 centimetre cubes, it doesn't really matter. Depending on the shape of your tofu as well, obviously they all come in wonderful shapes, they're not straight blocks. And literally cube it up, sprinkle it in. Sprinkle it in. You have to let us know this week as well, guys, if anyone makes some curries. Our sun shines out today, so we're going to have this in the garden tonight. I might get some photographs out from our travels and reminisce. That sounds like a nice idea. After kind of experiencing true Thai food whilst I was there, it's become like our comfort food. So we'll eat curries all the time. And they're not always kind of this exact format, but that principle of mixing like the sweet and spicy and sour and salty, play around with that and create some beautiful curries. Don't always get it right, but we got to try these things, haven't we? because for me, I have to say Thai food is up there with my favourite. I just love it. I just loved the food whilst we were there. I'm just going to move that so I don't... Oh, David, you bought a Spanish onion yesterday. What does a Spanish onion taste like? We're going to go with mushrooms. So, we're just going to weigh these just so I've got a rough idea. 70 grams is just... what was about 5 or 6. So that's 80. We'll go with that. So we've got 5 decent sized mushrooms, and I'm going to chop them into quarters. So I want big chunks of mushroom. I don't want these to be fine. I want the big chunks of mushroom coming through. So we're going to go down the centre again. Just one sec, guys. I just want to blow my nose. Sorry, guys. Spicy definitely. The onion. Right, so we've got our mushrooms in. I'm going to add liquid now because then everything else is going to go in, so it's not really going to get cooked through. So the tomatoes, I want them to be as close to raw as possible. The greens that I'm going to use, I'm just going to let them wilt, and the sweet corn just needs to heat through. So you can use a full can of coconut milk if you want. I am only going to use half a can. I'm going to add water because this is full fat coconut milk, and I'm just doing it purely for the sake of reducing calories. So I'm going to take some of the fat off the top until I get to the liquid, and then I'm going to use that liquid and then, sorry about that if I got you, and then we're going to add some 200 mils of water that I had measured out, and I'm just going to mix that through, and then now the liquid is in, I'm going to turn the heat up. So let's turn that heat up, and we're going to get that reducing down, and we're going to get it nice and thick. So with Thai curries, especially like a green curry and a red Thai curry, you don't want it to the point where you've kind of took it to like a dry curry. There's going to be like that thick soup sauce element to it. So we just want this to reduce down, because as you can see now, I hope you can see that it's really runny now. So it's going to thicken up as it reduces, and the tofu is going to soak that flavour up too. So let's add our maple and we'll stir that through. Once you put your maple in, taste as you go along. If you want extra and you want it a bit sweeter, then add some more, but I'm happy with this level. And let's let that get boiling. If I had a pan with a lid, now I'd cover it with just to let the steam escape, but the heat had happened. But we're fine with what we are. So, with our basil. My basil was fine, and I woke up and it looks like this. Yeah, not the best, is it? But I forgot that I have some basil leaves. So I'm actually going to use a teaspoon of this. If you're going to use fresh basil leaves, throw them in whole. And if I tell you what, I'm still going to use this rather than it going in the bin, just because that's what I do. but I'm going to still add some Thai basil because they're so wilted. They're not going to be at the best flavour. Sorry guys, I need to just grab this again. So let's just mix that through. And let's add some of this. So this is just in some water. So I'm just going to make sure I'm not adding that extra liquid. And it's already chopped. So this is going to add flecks of basil through the dish. And let's stir that round. Paul, I just used olive oil today because it's all I've got. But coconut oil works fantastic with this, or any neutral tasting oil as well. Just whatever you have. I've only got olive oil. I normally have rapeseed oil in because it's better for cooking with. But yeah, I haven't got any. So we're going to let that continue to cook down, and I'm going to chop some tomatoes. So I have got these. Oh, I haven't even put tomatoes on there. Well, I'm adding tomatoes. Just for extra pop of colour. And I'm just going to go, let's go with 4. So I've got these heritage tomatoes. So we've got some yellow, red and orange tomatoes. Absolutely love yellow tomatoes. So I'm just going to prep these for when the dish is done. I'm not going to cook them through. And this was something that when we were in Thailand, they send it today, they would throw some tomatoes in there. So you just get that texture and that pop of flavour. Again, an extra element of sweetness depending on the tomatoes you're using. I think I'm getting over the onion now. It's secretly got me. So clean, Thai basil's got like an aniseed flavour to it, whereas I would say normal basil's kind of sweeter. So it's totally got its own flavour. And obviously with Thai recipes, when they're calling for basil, they mean Thai basil. But if you can't access it, then we just replace it for the basil that we've got. When they're with like the fresh herbs going in, it's kind of when you're eating it that you're going to get that pop of flavour. So we just use what we have. We don't need to overcomplicate it, but Thai basil is a beautiful flavour. The same with the ginger. I don't think it's as intense and as fiery as just normal ginger. I might be wrong on that, but I'm just using regular ginger for this. Yeah, Paul, so you can just use your coconut oil. Yeah, Dave, you could use fennel seeds and star anise. That was another alternative to bring that aniseed flavour through the dish. So we've got our tomatoes cooked. I'm going to add some sweet corn. So I'm obviously cooking this to this point for the sake of the video. I would leave this obviously lower and just let it steam off. But you don't need to sit here for half an hour with me just watching a pan bubble away. So I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sweet corn. If you've got some baby corn, they're perfect to go through. That's a bit more authentic. But we don't, so we're just going to add some sweet corn. It's just going to add little golden colours to our green curry. And then the same as what Dave mentioned yesterday, I like to use fresh greens. So whatever you've got, I'm going to use chard today. If you've got spinach, if you've got kale, I'm going to just chop it up to decorate it and sprinkle it through, but I'm going to let the heat wilt it. I'm not going to cook it, so that goes in at the very last moment. If you want to, if you're using sprouted beans and you want to cook them, chuck them in now. I don't want to cook mine, so like I said, I'm going to mix them through at the end and I'm going to sprinkle some on for a garnish. Yes, Colleen, you did spot it first. This is a little coconut, because we use coconut milk so much. And the sun is shining here in Manchester, so it's a little cocktail coconut with a little umbrella. I'm sorry that my drawing is so bad that you can't tell. Right, so we have got pretty much everything in there. So let's get the bowl ready for serving. And then we'll chop our greens. I reckon we're ready to go. We'll pop it in there at the end. If you want to bulk this out anymore and add extra veg in, of course do it. A lot of Thai curries have aubergine in, but their aubergines are different. They're like small, little green balls, really. But if you wanted to use the regular aubergine, I would just chop it up, cube it, and throw it in. So I'll throw that in near the start just to give it a chance to cook. Right then, so I'll just move that handle all the way so I don't catch it. And we've got some chard. So I'm going to chop these big stalks off. I'm just going to take the little frayed ends off. And I'm going to just finely chop these and chuck them in. These are really fibrous, so you do want to chop them fine. I mean, if you like a little bit of chunk of them in there, it doesn't really matter. But we're going to mix them in. Extra bit of green, extra bit of fibre, extra bit of nutrition, win-win. Right, so I'm going to turn this down now, so we've reduced right down. I don't want to lose all of the moisture. Sorry, my arm's probably in the way there. So we've reduced right down. So that's looking really good. So that's on the low heat now. So, all I'm going to do with the chard is just to roll them, sit them on top of each other, so nice and flat. Lie them on top of each other, roll it up, and we're just going to slice it. So this is going to give us like long ribbons. If you've got, if you're using spinach, obviously you're just going to sprinkle it on. Let me just double check. Oh, did I never say that I was in Manchester, Paul? Some people can tell from my accent. I don't think I have a strong accent. If I do, I do. But yeah, I'm in Manchester, so the sun is shining today. It's a beautiful day outside, so I'm going to enjoy my dinner outside today. Yes, Sue, so this cookbook, it does say welcome to Vegan North, because I'm a proud Northerner. So this is, doing a bit of publicity for them. It's actually called Vegan North, so all of the vegan restaurants in the north of England, I've shared some of their recipes and obviously pop them into the cookbook. So for Manchester, you've got greens in Didsbury and V-Revs and 8th Day. Some really, really nice recipes in there. So let's serve this. But yeah, I like that page, just to let anyone in the kitchen know that we're a proud Northern vegan. Right, I need a spoon to serve this up, don't I? Can I find it? So let's serve our curry. I might have actually took that sauce a bit too far. I've lost some of the liquid, but never mind. Pop that through. Move that out of the way. And then we're just going to sprinkle our ribbons on. If you want to do it in the pan, obviously you can do and stir it through. I'm just doing this just because this is how I like to add it to my dish, so we've got that crunch. And the same with some tomatoes. Let's get a bit of colour on there. When you're cooking this curry, make sure you're using your ventilation. If your onions get you, and there is a bit of spice. And then we're just going to dress it with our chilli. I'll show you and then I'm just going to have a taste. So there we have it. A Thai inspired green. Oh, I've not put my sprouted. Never mind, reject that. I didn't show you. And we're going to sprinkle with our sprouted beans. Take two. There's our curry. So let's have a taste. Let's see how spicy we are. So I should have tasted this before I served it, obviously. So taste it before you serve it, because if you want to add any extra spice, you're going to add it in. If you want, I'm just going to taste this all. So I think that's perfect. It's just a subtle bit of spice, so that heat just slowly comes through at the end. It's not overpowering. If you take it too far, spicy food obviously can then just take over the palate and you can't taste anything. So I think that that's perfect for somebody that doesn't like spicy food. It's going to be a little bit spicy, but it's not overpowering. So we've got that saltiness, we've got the sweet, we've got the creamy sauce, and let's add, I'll tell you what else I forgot to add. Let's add a bit of extra zest. And we'll just squeeze on. Tell you what, I'll just do a quarter. We'll squeeze on some lime juice. Really nice to serve it, so serve it with a wedge of lime. People can add their extra zest, juice. And there we go, guys, that is it. So we've got our green Thai inspired curry, and I will just double check if we've got any last comments and questions. Thank you for joining us today. Dane will be with you tomorrow doing another curry recipe, because it is curry week. So you're going to be curried out by the end of the week, if that's possible. And the recipe is already on the community group, but I'll share the method, and it will eventually go on the website. Obviously, we just need to wait while we do that in stages, because it is a big job just to continuously get them on. So we'll see what Dane makes tomorrow, and then you've got Nikki on Friday, who's got something really good in mind. I'm not going to spoil the surprise. So let me know, guys, if you try the recipe out, and thank you so much for watching. If you want to check any of my other recipes out, you can check my blog or check me on Facebook or Instagram at pinchofkindness.com. And yeah, thanks guys. As always, love speaking with you, love connecting with you, and can't wait to see you next week.